the latest trailer for 1923 Season 2. Episode 2 has just dropped, and it is nothing short of shocking. Just when fans thought the story couldn't get more intense, the new footage teases unexpected twists, life-threatening challenges, and a battle for survival like never before. The Duttons are facing enemies from all sides, and it's becoming clear that the fight for their land is far from over. But this time, the threats are not just human nature itself has turned against them. The chilling scenes in the trailer hint at a winter so brutal that even the strongest may not make it through. Episode 1 set the stage for the storm ahead, showing us just how vulnerable the Duttons are. The events that unfolded left many questions unanswered, and the trailer for Episode 2 suggests that things are only going to get worse. There are glimpses of Cara Dutton standing her ground in the face of danger, Donald Whitfield growing even more ruthless, and Spencer struggling to return home before it's too late. But the most terrifying part? The land itself is becoming a battlefield, with hunger and desperation pushing both humans and animals to their limits. This isn't just another episode. It's a survival test, and not everyone may make it out alive. One of the biggest talking points from Episode 1 was the eerie foreshadowing from the unexpected lion attack to the chilling howls in the distance. Every detail hinted at a larger storm brewing. The new trailer confirms those fears. The Dutton Ranch is no longer a place of safety. It's a target for both men and beasts. The winter has arrived with a vengeance, and with it comes a fight for dominance. The question now is, who will have the strength to survive, and who will fall victim to the brutal forces closing in? This upcoming episode is not just about action, it's about consequences. The Duttons have made their enemies known, and now those enemies are striking back. But even as they prepare for the battle ahead, there's another war raging within their own walls. Tensions are running high, trust is fading, and alliances are being tested. In a place where survival depends on unity, cracks are beginning to show. The trailer hints at emotional moments that will shake the foundation of the family, making it clear that the worst is yet to come. With the stakes rising, every character is facing a moment of truth. For some, it will be a test of strength. For others, it will be a test of loyalty. And for a few, it might just be the end of the road. 1923 has never been afraid to take risks, and this season is proving to be its most daring yet. The new trailer doesn't just tease action, it sets the stage for devastation. Fans who have been waiting for more drama, more intensity, and more shocking reveals are about to get exactly that. The biggest question remains, will Spencer make it back in time to save his family? Or is he already too late? The trailer gives us glimpses of his journey, but every moment feels like a race against time. Meanwhile, Cara is forced to take matters into her own hands, showing once again why she is the backbone of the Dutton family. And then there's Donald Whitfield, the man who has made it his mission to destroy the Duttons once and for all. His presence looms over every scene, a constant reminder that the danger is closer than ever. This episode isn't just another chapter in the story, it's a turning point. It's the moment when everything changes, when choices must be made, and when the true strength of the Dutton family is put to the test. The trailer leaves us with more questions than answers, and that's exactly what makes it so exciting. With every frame, the tension builds, making it impossible to predict what will happen next. One thing is certain, 1923 Season 2 is delivering on every promise, and Episode 2 is about to shake things up in ways we never saw coming. The second episode of 1923 Season 2 is titled The Iron Winter, and that name alone speaks volumes. This isn't just about the cold, it's about something much deeper. The word iron suggests something unbreakable, something harsh and unforgiving. Paired with winter, it paints a picture of a season that will test the strength of everyone in its path. This is no ordinary winter. It is a force of nature, a battle that will push the Duttons and their enemies to their absolute limits. Episode 1 already gave us a glimpse of what's coming. The chilling winds, the frozen landscapes, and the desperate hunt for survival were just the beginning. But if the title of Episode 2 is anything to go by, the real struggle is only starting. Montana has never been an easy place to live, but this season, it is more merciless than ever. The land is frozen, food is scarce, and predators both human and animal are circling like vultures. The Iron Winter is not just about the physical cold, it's about the emotional and psychological toll it will take on everyone involved. For the Duttons, this winter is a symbol of their current battle. The ranch, their home, is under siege. Donald Whitfield and his men are lurking in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike. At the same time, nature itself is turning against them. The trailer shows glimpses of wolves, lions, and other deadly threats. The battle for survival has never been more intense, and the next episode promises to push the Duttons to their breaking point. Hungry predators inch closer to the ranch, desperate for food. The Duttons are fighting two wars, one against the men who want to take everything from them, and one against the brutal forces of the wild. The Iron Winter perfectly captures this moment of crisis, where survival is no longer guaranteed. But this title isn't just about struggle, it's also about resilience. Iron is strong, unyielding, and impossible to break. The Duttons have survived everything thrown at them so far, but this will be their greatest challenge yet. The question now is, will they be able to withstand the storm, or will they finally be pushed past their breaking point? The trailer suggests that the latter is a real possibility. Tensions within the family are rising, and trust is starting to wear thin. The harsh conditions are not just testing their physical strength, but also their unity as a family. One of the most striking moments from the trailer is a scene of Kara standing at the window, rifle in hand, ready to defend her home. Her words of "all the things I've done for this ranch," this one takes the cake, suggest that she is about to face a challenge unlike any before. Many fans assumed she was talking about facing Donald's men, but now it seems more likely that she is fighting off something even more dangerous: wild animals desperate for food. This perfectly ties into the meaning of the Iron Winter. The cold is driving both man and beast to extremes, forcing them to make choices they never imagined. This episode title is a warning. It tells us that no one is safe. The Iron Winter is coming for everyone, and those who are not strong enough will not make it through. The Duttons have always been survivors, but even they may not be prepared for what's ahead. With the land frozen and enemies closing in, this episode will be a defining moment in their fight for survival. The title says it all. This is a winter that will leave scars, and not everyone will make it out alive. If there's one thing Episode 1 made crystal clear, it's that Donald Whitfield is more dangerous than ever. We've seen villains in the Yellowstone universe before, but Donald operates on an entirely different level. He's not just a ruthless businessman, he's a man with absolute power and no moral limits. And now, in Episode 2, he's about to show just how far he's willing to go to take down the Duttons once and for all. From the moment he entered the story, Donald has played his game with precision. He's not impulsive like Banner Crichton, nor is he a simple opportunist. He is a man who enjoys power, thrives on control, and, most importantly, sees the Duttons as nothing more than an obstacle in his path. But the key difference between him and past villains is that he doesn't just want to win, he wants to dominate. He wants to break the Duttons, strip them of their land, and reshape Montana into his own personal empire. And now that Spencer is on his way, he knows time is running out. Episode 2 is where we'll see Donald intensify his plans. He already has the legal advantage, and with the brutal winter making life on the ranch even more unbearable, he knows this is his chance to strike while the Duttons are vulnerable. But what exactly does he have planned? If episode 1 was any indication, he's about to unleash a level of cruelty we haven't seen before. Remember that chilling scene where he casually told Banner that they must force the Duttons into submission? That wasn't just talk. Donald is already setting his pieces in place, and in episode 2, we'll start seeing the full force of his strategy unfold. His biggest weapon, fear? Donald knows that brute force alone won't bring the Duttons down, but psychological warfare will. He wants them to feel hopeless, to believe that no matter what they do, they're fighting a losing battle. That's why he has Banner terrorizing the ranch, stirring chaos, while he himself stays behind the scenes, pulling the strings. And now, as winter tightens its grip, he'll use the harsh conditions to his advantage. The Duttons aren't just fighting the cold, they're fighting starvation, exhaustion, and the ever-present threat of predators. And Donald? He's sitting in his luxurious home, watching it all play out exactly as he planned. But there's something Donald isn't considering: his own allies. We saw a glimpse of doubt in Banner Creighton in episode 1. He may be loyal for now, but deep down, even he knows that Donald is dangerous. And as the battle for the Dutton ranch intensifies, Banner might start questioning whether he's on the right side. That single doubt, that single hesitation, could change everything. Donald may believe he's invincible, but if his own men start turning on him, his empire could begin to crack from within. And let's not forget about Cara Dutton. She may not have the physical strength of Spencer or the brute force of Jacob, but what she does have is resilience. She has spent her entire life fighting for this ranch, and she won't go down without a battle. In episode 2, we'll see her take an even stronger role in the fight against Donald. She may be outnumbered, she may be outgunned, but if there's one thing we know about the Duttons, it's that they don't back down. One thing we've learned about her so far is that she never backs down. Ever since he set foot on foreign soil, Spencer has lived a life far removed from the struggles of the Yellowstone Ranch. He's been a hunter, a soldier, and a survivor. But now, his destiny is calling him home. He may not realize it yet, but he is the Duttons' last chance. Without him, the ranch will fall. Without him, Cara's desperate fight will have been for nothing. And in the next episode, his journey back will begin in earnest, but not without obstacles. Tension is reaching a boiling point, and this episode will set the stage for the ultimate showdown. The question is, who will make the first move? Will Donald finally tighten his grip and crush the Duttons under his iron fist? Or will the cracks in his own empire start to show, giving the Duttons the opening they need to strike back? One thing is certain: this episode is about to push every character to their absolute limits, and the battle for survival is just getting started. For too long, the Dutton family has been fighting a war they're not prepared to win. Jacob is still weak from his injuries. Cara is holding the ranch together by sheer willpower. And Jack, fueled by rage, lacks the experience to lead the family through a battle like this. Meanwhile, the walls are closing in. Donald Whitfield is tightening his grip. Banner Creighton is terrorizing them at every turn. And the relentless Montana winter is making survival nearly impossible. But despite all of this, there is one glimmer of hope: the return of Spencer Dutton. We saw the heartbreak of Cara's letter in the last episode, a painful reminder of how much time has passed and how much has already been lost. Spencer's guilt will be overwhelming. He left his family behind, believing they could survive without him. Now, he has to face the devastating truth. His absence has cost them dearly. But Spencer isn't a man who dwells on regret. If there's one thing we know about him, it's that he's a fighter. And now, for the first time in years, he finally has something worth fighting for. Getting home won't be easy. The journey from Africa to Montana is long, and time is not on his side. But Spencer isn't just facing physical distance. He's also up against unseen forces working against his family. Donald Whitfield isn't a fool. He knows Spencer is coming, and he won't let him return without a fight. We've already seen what Donald is capable of when he feels threatened. And if he believes Spencer is the one man who could ruin his plans, he'll make sure Spencer never sets foot on Yellowstone soil again. That means Spencer's journey home won't be a simple one. He might be hunted, betrayed, or even caught in a trap before he can make it back to Montana. Then there's Alexandra, the woman who has stood by his side despite every challenge they've faced. She has been Spencer's strength. But will she be willing to walk into a war she doesn't understand? More importantly, will she survive it? Because one thing is clear: if Spencer returns to Yellowstone, his fight won't end when he steps onto the ranch. It will only just begin. Back in Montana, the Duttons are barely holding on, and they know Spencer is their only hope. Kara, in particular, has placed everything on his return. We saw how much faith she put in that letter, believing with all her heart that if Spencer comes back, everything will change. But here's the brutal truth: Spencer might not be able to save them. The battle they're facing isn't just about strength. It's about politics, land ownership, and the slow suffocation of the Dutton legacy. Even if Spencer comes back as the hardened warrior they need, will it be too late? Another big question looms. How will Spencer react when he finally sees the damage done? His home is on the verge of collapse. His family is struggling to survive. And the man responsible, Donald Whitfield, isn't just any enemy. He's a monster who thrives on destruction. Spencer has killed before. But this time, it's personal. He won't just fight to win, he'll fight to destroy. But will his rage blind him? Will his thirst for revenge put the family in even more danger? And let's not forget Jack Dutton. The young cowboy has been filled with fire and fury since the beginning. But with Spencer's return, that dynamic is about to change. Jack has been forced to take on the role of protector. But now, the real protector is coming home. Will Jack welcome Spencer's leadership? Or will he resent it? Because while the Duttons need unity, their greatest weakness has always been internal conflict. If Jack feels overshadowed, if tensions rise between the two men, then the family could start to unravel from the inside out, playing right into Donald Whitfield's hands. One thing is for sure: this episode is going to show us a Spencer Dutton we've never seen before. He's not just a hunter anymore. He's not just a man trying to outrun his past. He is a soldier returning to the battlefield, a warrior stepping into the fight of his life, and the fate of the Yellowstone Ranch rests entirely on his shoulders. The Duttons have fought many enemies before, but none have been as ruthless, calculated, and dangerous as Donald Whitfield. Unlike past threats, he doesn't rely on brute force alone. He plays a different game, one where power, influence, and wealth control everything. Episode 2 will show just how far he is willing to go to claim Yellowstone as his own. From the moment Donald entered the picture, he made one thing clear: he doesn't just want the Duttons to lose. He wants to break them. He wants to see their name erased from Montana's history, their land stolen, and their family shattered. And now, he has the power to do it. With Jacob still recovering, Kara struggling to hold things together, and Jack consumed by anger, there's no one strong enough to stand against him. That's what makes him so terrifying. Unlike Banner Crichton, who acts on impulse and personal vengeance, Donald moves like a shadow, striking when his victims least expect it. Episode 2 will likely expose the next phase of his plan, and this is where things take a dark turn. We already know that he legally controls the Duttons' land through debt. That alone puts him in a position of unchecked dominance. He doesn't need to physically attack them, he just needs to wait for them to fail. He wants to see them slowly crushed under the weight of their own burdens. But that doesn't mean he won't resort to more violent tactics. After all, Donald isn't patient when it comes to power. If he sees an opportunity to wipe the Duttons out completely, he will take it. This is where things could become deadly. We know that Donald operates with money and influence, but he also isn't afraid to get his hands dirty when necessary. He could send men to burn their cattle, sabotage their water supply, or even force the town against them. In a place like Montana, survival depends on loyalty. And if Donald convinces the ranchers and townsfolk that siding with the Duttons is a losing battle, then the family will have no allies left. We may even see him buying off key figures in the community: lawmen, judges, business owners, people who can make the Duttons' lives even more miserable. And then there's Banner Creighton. We've seen Donald use him as a pawn, but how long will Banner be content being someone else's attack dog? His hatred for the Duttons runs deep, but there's one thing he values above all else: his own survival. If he starts to believe that Donald is more dangerous than helpful, then the balance of power could shift in unexpected ways. Could Banner betray him? Could we see internal conflict between these two villains? Or will Donald eliminate Banner before he ever gets the chance to rise against him? Spencer Dutton has always been a fighter, a survivor. He's faced death on the battlefields of World War II, hunted dangerous predators in Africa, and endured brutal conditions most men wouldn't survive. But in episode 2, he faces his greatest challenge yet: getting home before it's too late. At the end of season 1, we saw Spencer's journey back to Montana take an unexpected and devastating turn. Separated from Alexandra, stranded in a world where every step forward feels impossible, Spencer is now in a race against time. And time is not on his side. While he struggles to make his way back, the Duttons are barely holding on. The ranch is under siege. Donald Whitfield is tightening his grip, and Jacob Dutton is too weak to fight. They need Spencer now. But the real question is, will he even make it? From what we know about episode 2, Spencer's journey will be far from easy. In season 1, we saw how his return was delayed at every turn, forced onto separate ships, dealing with corrupt officials, and barely escaping dangerous encounters. And in this next chapter, those challenges will only intensify. It's no longer just about reaching Montana. It's about surviving long enough to get there. One of the biggest obstacles standing in his way? Donald Whitfield himself. We already know that Whitfield will do whatever it takes to maintain his control over the Yellowstone Ranch. And if that means ensuring Spencer never makes it home, then he will make it happen. It wouldn't be surprising if Whitfield has already sent men to track him down to eliminate him before he even steps foot on American soil. And if Whitfield hasn't done it yet, then there's still plenty of danger waiting for Spencer. We've already seen that Spencer's journey is filled with unpredictable threats: hostile soldiers, corrupt officials, dangerous strangers. Any of them could become the next major roadblock in his path. Will he be thrown into prison on false charges? Will he be attacked by men sent to stop him? Or will he find himself stranded yet again, unable to move forward just as his family needs him the most? If Spencer loses Alexandra, if something happens to her before they reunite, it could send him into a spiral of rage and destruction. We've seen how far he'll go to protect those he loves. But what happens when he loses someone he can't save? Could that turn him into a man even more dangerous than his enemies? Could it lead him to make reckless choices that put his own life at risk? No matter what happens, one thing is certain: Spencer will fight with everything he has to get home. He knows what's at stake. He knows that if he fails, his family will lose everything. And for a man like Spencer, failure is not an option. But will he get there in time? That's the terrifying question. Because every second he's delayed, the Duttons slip closer to complete defeat. Whitfield's grip on the ranch tightens, Jack Dutton grows more desperate, and Jacob's strength fades. By the time Spencer arrives, will there even be a ranch left to save? Or worse, will he come home just in time to watch everything burn? Episode 2 will push Spencer to his limits like never before. His journey home is no longer just about returning to his family. It's about saving them before it's too late. But with every obstacle in his way, every delay, and every new danger, the odds are stacking against him. Will he defy fate and make it back in time? Or is he already too late? Everything is building up to what could be one of the most explosive episodes in the history of 1923. The Duttons are barely holding on. Donald Whitfield is closing in, and Spencer is facing the biggest battle of his life, a battle against time itself. The countdown to episode 2 has begun, and it's going to be a game changer. If you don't want to miss a second of the drama, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you'll be the first to know when we drop more updates. And don't forget, drop your predictions in the comments. Do you think Whitfield will win this fight? Will Spencer and Alexandra reunite? Or is there a shocking twist waiting that will change everything? 1923 episode 2 is coming, and it's going to be unforgettable. Stay tuned.